In this tutorial, I will show you the use of constructor in object-oriented PHP. Constructor is a very useful feature of any object-oriented programming language. So, first of all, I will explain the advantage of using constructor. Uh, it is mainly used to initialize the class properties or variables at the time of object creation. And second benefit of using this method is that you can reuse it multiple times without reinitializing it after calling the object. And third benefit is you can any child constructor can easily call the parent constructor and use the feature of the parent constructor. And the last benefit is that if you want to do some text for just for one time and first at the beginning of the script in the class, then it is better to define this statement in the constructor, like session creation. When a user log in, then a session will be created for that user. Next part of this tutorial here explain the types of constructor. In PHP, you can use three types of constructor. First one is default constructor that is defined by using double underscore construct. And another major point of using constructor is that you don't need to call this method like other method, but it will be called automatically when you create a new object for that particular class that contain constructor. So default constructor is defined by double underscore construct method. And other two constructors are parameterless constructor and parameterized constructors. As the name mentioned, parameterless constructor will not contain any argument or parameter, and parameterized constructor will contain one or more argument or parameter. So in the first example, I will show you the use of default constructor in PHP class. So create a PHP file with this script by using any editor. I am using Visual Studio Code here. The class name is user that contains three properties: name, email, and phone. And the default constructor is declared here that will initialize these three properties of the class with some default value. And when this method will be called, it will be called when this line will execute. That means when the object of the user class will be created, then the double underscore construct method will be called automatically and initialize the values of the class properties. And after that, the all the values are public here, so it can be printed outside the class, and these are printed here using the object variable. So I will save the file now, and I will create a folder with the name constructor and keep the PHP file here, c1.php. Okay, now I will go to the folder. But you can use any browser. The folder name is constructor. Sorry, spelling mistake here. Okay, this is the file c1.php, and you can see the output. The value of the uh, properties, these three properties are printed here, which is initialized by the default constructor. Now I will see the example 2, use of user-defined parameterless constructor. First point is that when you define any user-defined constructor in PHP, then the method name will be the same with the class name. That means in the script, if the user is the class name, then the method which is declared with the class name, then it is the user-defined constructor of this class. So I will try this script. Okay, now I will save it. This class also contains the three properties name, email, and phone. And this is the user-defined constructor user that will initialize the values for these properties when the object of this class is created. And this is another method that is not the constructor method, and method name is display that will print the initialized value. So when the object will be created by using new keyword of the user class, then this method will be called automatically, and inside this method display method is called. So when I will run this script, then it will print the values of these three properties. It is showing a syntax error in line number 22 here. Here that will be single quote here. So this script and again execute. Now you can see the output properly. The initialize property values are shown here. If I change something here, save the file and again execute it, you can see the value is also changed. Now I will go for the next example. Use of user-defined parameterized constructor. That means the constructor will contain one or more arguments. Save the file c3.php. Okay, here the class name is same users and the constructor contains three arguments name, email, and phone. If the constructor contains any argument, then the argument values must be passed at the time of object creation. So at the end of the script, when the object is created, you can see the line new user and three values are passed here, which will be passed in this three arguments name, email, and phone. And that will be used to initialize the properties of this class. And at the time of initialization, you have to use $these keyword. And the display method is used like the previous example to print the properties. So, but in this constructor, display method is not called inside the constructor, which is called outside the class using the object variable. And same error is exist here, so you have to correct it before executing the script. Now I will check the script is okay or not. Script name is C3. You can see the output is properly appeared. So if you use parameterized constructor, then you can define like this and initialize at the time of object creation. Now I will go for the last example of this tutorial, calling parent constructor from child constructor. It is only applicable when you apply inheritance in your script. So there must be two class for the inheritance. This is class C1 and this is class C2, which is inherited by using class C1. So this is the parent class and this is the child class. The parent class contains a property $a, which is string, and a default constructor that will print a string. And the child class contains another property $b, and which is initialized with 40, and it has also a default constructor. And to call the parent constructor, here parent keyword is used with double colon. And when the object of the child class will be created like this object new C2, then it will first call the child class constructor, and that will first call the parent constructor and then execute the statement of the child constructor. And there is another method add that will add the value of $a and $b and put the result in the variable $result, which is printed later. And at the end of this script, the add method, which is the method of child class, and that will print the result of $a and $b, where $a is the property of parent class and $b is the property of child class. Now I will run it. First of all, I will save it with c4.php. And now I will execute it. You can see it is default constructor of parent class that appeared from the parent class constructor, and it is default constructor of child class that appear from the child class constructor, and sum of 40 and 10 is 50. So the output appears properly. Now, I think the use of constructor in PHP is clear now. Thank you for watching.